Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fabulous, fabulous. We are cruising right up to the weekend. I cannot believe it's already Thursday. And we've got a Dear John letter for today that I'm excited to get to, so you'll have to stick around for that. That's on the way. Right now, we got a quote from Pastor Rick Warren. I've read a couple of his books. Very, very good books, by the way. Life is a series of problem-solving opportunities. The problems you face will either defeat you or develop you, depending on how you respond to them. I like that. Mm-hmm. So many times in life, we have the opportunity to do the right thing or the wrong thing, and that's where you got to choose to do the right thing. Sometimes it's a hard choice, but you got to do that. So, coming up in a bit, some special things for today. We'll tell you about that on the way.
John and Heidi.
Many people make extra money working from home. They find a product and they market it to earn extra income. I know what you're thinking. I just don't have the time or personality to do sales. Well, you don't have to. We have a business builder program to make our program super easy. You can sign up for this work from home business and let us help you build it. We run ads on radio stations like this one, and we help people like you learn how to earn extra monthly income. Call us toll free at 1-800-975-7592. See how easy it can be to have your own business. 1-800-975-7592.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It's Thursday, July the 6th. It's my big brother's birthday today.
Oh.
Trying to think of how old he would be today. He is older than me. I don't know that. It's Fried Chicken Day, International Kissing Day, also World Kissing Day, and Take Your Webmaster to Lunch Day. So, Heidi, I am the webmaster around here, so I think you owe me some lunch.
Okay.
A lot of, and we should probably have fried chicken with it being Fried Chicken Day. So, what year is it?
What year is this?
2017. I was trying to do the math in my head to figure out how old my brother is.
What's going on?
He is born in 72. Would he be 45 this year? I think that's what that works out to. I have to take off some fingers. And can I borrow your fingers and toes too? I'll count it out. Anyway, happy birthday to my big brother, and happy Fried Chicken Day to the rest of us.
It's 2017. Are you still getting your movies and TV the way we did last century? Quit overpaying for old technology. For just $20 per month, you get live news, live sports, live channels filled with movies, and more, all for just $20 per month. You can also stream movies and TV shows, so you can binge watch every episode of your favorite TV show. Learn more now at channelsurfertv.com. Get movies and TV for a low monthly fee at channelsurfertv.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. A group of Swiss evangelical Christians are building a gigantic Bible theme park in Germany. That's an interesting idea. Their website says they want to transmit the story and message of the Bible in a, quote, active and exciting way, end quote. Genesis Park. It'll be the size of 70 soccer fields, and the centerpiece will be an original-size Noah's Ark replica, 490 feet long, surrounded by water. Also going to be 39 other Bible-related attractions. This is all happening in Germany, by the way. Other things include roller coasters on the theme of the Great Flood and of Heaven and Hell, an Old Testament-era desert tent, and a Tower of Babel panorama restaurant. Panorama restaurant. That makes more sense. Yeah, that didn't make much sense. A Tower of Babel panorama restaurant. That's not easy to say. Also a mock-up of Jerusalem in the times of Jesus. It's all going to double as the main shopping mall area, too. So that'll
be interesting.
Cool concept. Would you, like, if we were going to be going to Germany, would you say, hey, let's go check that out, or would you not?
No.
Even if we were going to be there anyway? Because I kind of threw you a bone. I wasn't expecting to say, yeah, I'd fly to Germany to see that. But if we were already going there for something else, you wouldn't want to stop by and check it out?
I don't know. Maybe if like one of the places ran out of beer and we had nothing else to do.
So we're in Germany. They're all out of beer. Let's go to the Bible theme park instead.
If there's a Jesus turns water into wine exhibit, I could probably stay at that location and you guys could do the
Where's
rest of
Heidi?
the
She's
stuff.
at the Jesus turns water into winery. Yeah, Genesis Park. Anyway, I don't know. I think it sounds really cool. Heidi clearly doesn't. But you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. Heading to Pennsylvania, where a man was brought into court on drug possession charges. While he was in the courthouse, he was approached by a couple of police officers who were there to serve him a warrant in a completely different case. When he saw the officers, he became very nervous and blurted out that, "I have drugs on my person." Sure enough, they checked, and indeed, he was carrying 2 grams of crack cocaine and some marijuana right there in the middle of the courthouse. On the same day, he was scheduled to go before the judge on drug possession charges. Whatever additional time he's giving is not enough, because that guy's just not going to learn his lesson. That is crazy. What is wrong with people?
There's all sorts of things wrong with all sorts of people.
Yeah, that just... I'm speechless, and that never happens. So, moving
I
right
can
along.
attest to that.
Yeah. We do have your moment of duh. That is coming your way in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. Complaining about loud music ends up as a moment of duh for a young lady over in Germany. Elsie Weiss of Mulheim, Germany, whose neighbors continually complain about her habit of blasting loud music from her garden, complained to police one night that she couldn't sleep because somebody was blasting loud music, only to be told by the investigating officer the disturbance was coming from her own radio, which she had turned on and left on in the garden. She called the police on herself. According to a neighbor, she always plays her music really loud. For once, she gave herself a taste of her own medicine, end quote. How funny is that? Call the police. Hey, somebody's blaring music out here. It's really hard. I'm trying to get to sleep.
Really stupid.
Ma'am, that's your radio in your garden. Well, can you make me turn it off? I don't exactly know where you go from there. I guess that's why it's called the moment of duh. We have your scoop of the day on the way. Also, a Dear John letter here before you know it.
John and Heidi.
I'm John Small. Ever since I was a little fat kid, my nickname has been Big John Small. Well, I decided it was time to do something about that. When I first stepped on the scale, a little over a month ago, it said overload. That was kind of scary. After about a week, it said 336. Then a week later, 326. Now, less than 316. I've lost over 20 pounds in about a month, and I did it with a delicious pink drink. It's been super easy, and if you'd like to try it for free, go to the website pinkdrinkfree.com. They'll mail you some free samples and the details on how to get more if you like it. That's pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
Now your scoop of the day. The Center for Disease Control has announced that rubella, or German measles, is the largest scourge to have completely been eradicated from the United States. So they're saying that those things are gone now. That's good.
That is good.
Let's hope they don't come back. We got other things that are coming back because people won't get their kids vaccinated, so they got some things that are coming back now. So you want to be careful about that. Recent survey shows that 1 in 4 Americans, that's 70 million people, by the way, are not getting enough sleep. It seems that job stress, money woes, aches and pains, and worries about terrorism and war, also relationship troubles and holiday anxieties keep people up at night. So there you go. That checklist kind of sums it up for me. So, almost all of those things. Job stress, money woes, aches and pains, although it's a lot better than used to be. Relationship troubles. I have a wife that's going to smother me in my sleep. She told me so. You've told me that numerous times.
Only if you continue to try starting new companies.
Okay, well, I won't do that then. Hey, researchers discovered, after studying 2 million people, that you're more likely to die on your birthday than any other day of the year. Did I mention it's my brother's birthday today?
Oh.
Happy birthday, Jason. Maybe.
It's kind of a downer.
The birthday blues bring a rise in deaths from heart attacks, stroke, falls, suicides, and even cancer. They found people over the age of 60 were 14% more likely to die on their birthday. The good news is he's not 60 yet, so you got a few more years in you. Crazy thing is, all of those different ways to die, they didn't mention anybody burning to death from having too many candles on their cake, so I thought maybe that's what it was. What are we doing? You're supposed to blow those out, not jump on them. With the sun expected to grow 11% hotter over the next 1.1 billion years, astronomers are working on a way to move Earth to a cooler
That's
and
a
more
good idea.
safe orbit.
That's a good idea.
So they're thinking, hey, if we just push Earth back a bit, here's an
it's not
idea.
going to screw up everything
about-
else in the solar system or anything.
Somebody tie those scientists up. Don't let them do that. This is a bad idea. Maybe just I got an idea. Go talk to somebody that does movies for a living and have them make this movie, and you see how it works out. It's not going to end well. Don't try moving Earth's orbit. That's a bad idea. A Reno, Nevada mother whose daughter was mistakenly disqualified from a spelling bee is threatening to sue all the way to the Supreme Court. Wow. I would be upset, too, if my daughter was...
That's a mama bear.
Yeah, if my daughter was mistakenly disqualified from a spelling bee, but all the way to the Supreme Court,
Did they do anything to make it right?
know.
I mean...
They should do something, but this... that's.
I don't know what she wants out of it.
I have no idea. Hey, Bombay Sapphire Gin is being recalled because the alcohol content is supposed to be 40%, but some bottles have it as high as 77%.
Ooh. They're recalling it? Where can I get some of that?
I was going to just say, you can either take it back for the recall or just bring it to Heidi. I
will dispose of it properly.
77% alcohol instead of 40%? Yeah, you don't want that. Here's $5. People who are thin apparently still need to worry about fat on the inside. Some doctors now think that I can't read worth a hoot lately, that internal fat surrounding vital organs like your heart and liver could be as dangerous as the more obvious external fat bulges that come out from underneath the skin. So for those of you who weren't concerned about fat before because you look okay, well, now you need to be worried too, just like we do. So these doctors are, between those doctors and those other scientists.
Everybody worrying.
Yeah. Well, then we're wondering why we have this anxiety. Children exposed to violence in video games and on television display similar reactions to those who witness war and acts of violence in real life, according to a study from Australia. So they're saying just watching this on TV or playing video games can be almost just like living it in real life. So there you go. That's going to do it for our scoop of the day. Guess what we have on the way?
What's that?
Dear John letters. It'll be here before you know it on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
I know it's hot out now. It's the middle of summer.
But imagine how cold it will be in November.
That's when we are going to go to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic.
We'd love it if you'd join us.
There's a week-long event called 80s in the Sand with a bunch of great music from bands like Loverboy, Starship, Night Ranger, and more.
Plus, you get to meet 80s icons like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and so many more.
If you'd like to join us for this great time, go to 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to save $200 per person.
That's 80sinthesand.com. And it's time right now for our Dear John letters.
Dear John.
And our Dear John letter today comes the same way they always come, through the internet, through facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. But it comes to us from a concerned neighbor, Heidi. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right. Dear John, this week we had a neighborhood get-together for the 4th of July. Most of the people in our area were here, but one family avoided us. They've always been here in the past, but this year they didn't reply to our invite and they didn't come to the party. I'm worried that they're upset about something. I can't think of what we may have done to upset them, but it's still weird that they weren't here and they avoided responding to our invite. Someone even said, "What did you do to upset them?" as a joke when somebody else pointed out that they were the only family that wasn't here. I'm probably overthinking this, but what do you think? But do you think I should go see my neighbor to make sure everything's okay? My husband thinks I'm crazy for even asking, but I want to make sure that we're okay. What do you think? Signed, concerned neighbor. So, first of all, the other neighbor was just kidding around. So I don't know. There might not be anything. There could be something going on in their life where they were just too busy to come to it. So that could be it, don't you think?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not you. Maybe it's somebody else that they knew was going to be at the party and they thought, no, I'm not going to go because I know he's going to be there and I just don't want to cause a scene. But do you think, Heidi, do you think that they should reach out to the neighbor and make sure everything's all right?
No, because if it's not them, it's none of their business. And if it is them, the neighbor doesn't want to talk to them anyway.
Well,
so just let it go.
I disagree. I think if it were me, this is just me, and you do what you want to do. But if it were me, I would reach out to them personally. I wouldn't like mail them something, or I wouldn't, email them. I just walk over. If you ever see them outside, walk over and say, "Hey, we missed you at the party. Is everything okay? I just want to make sure everything's all right." I wouldn't bring up the fact that somebody was saying, "Oh, what'd you do to make them mad?" I don't think I'd bring that part up. But I just go over and say, "Oh, we had so much fun. It just wasn't the same without you. Is everything okay? Is it all right?" Because then hopefully they would tell you that everything's fine, other than we don't like you guys anymore. I doubt that's what it is. I'll bet it's probably nothing. And she says that her husband thinks that she's crazy for even asking. Do you think that it's probably nothing?
I think that she's crazy for asking. I wouldn't go over there and bother them with it.
So you're telling me...
I would wait and see how they treat you the next time, like you're out walking your dog or whatever. If they speak to you then it's probably fine.
So you're telling me if everybody in our neighborhood was here for our get-together and there was one group that usually comes over, but they didn't come over,
right.
You wouldn't even wonder what happened?
I wonder, but I wouldn't.
Not enough to go over and say, hey, is everything all right? I just want to make sure.
I don't like to talk about feelings. And I mean, if there's an issue, it'll come up. If not...
Does anybody need a hug? Is that what's going on here?
How are you feeling? Did I do something to offend you?
I'm not
because
saying...
I most likely did.
Well, in this couple, yeah, you probably did. There were people that were here that were offended too, but I mean, she's an equal opportunity offender. I just think that I would this is me personally. I personally would, but I would do it in a way that you're not saying everybody at the party was wondering where you guys were. And it was really awkward. Did somebody in the neighborhood offend you? I don't think I would do that because that would be weird. But to just go over and say, hey, we really missed you. It was a lot of fun. And, if they brought, some certain treat last time, oh, boy, we sure missed your brownies that you always bring. Everything okay? And find out. That would be the conversation. Or here's the other thing. What if financially the money's tight right now and they didn't have the money to bring the treats that they usually bring? Who knows? Who knows what it is? But if that's the
case too, they probably don't want to talk about it.
But
why
I'm saying,
corner your neighbors?
You don't need to corner them. Do it in such a way that you're not putting them on the spot. That's where I'm saying, hey, we sure did miss you. Hopefully you can be at the next one. Because then if they say, well, as long as Mike's not there, because that guy ran over our cat. Now you know what the problem is. Just saying. I don't know. Maybe we're backing ourselves into a corner here. I'm saying I would ask no matter what. That's who I am. That's my personality. Heidi's saying she wouldn't at all. And doesn't even care.
If it's an issue, you'll know later. I mean, you don't need to go over to their house.
When they throw a rock through the window, we'll know it's a problem. Up until that point, we're going to just let it fester. Well, concerned neighbor, thank you. And if you would like to chime in and give some advice, this has been posted on our Facebook page for hours already. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Same place to go if you'd like to submit your own Dear John letter and have this expert crack staff here respond to you as well. And our advice is usually not nearly as good as that from the people online. So please chime in and give some good advice. Again, at Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you enjoying your summer, or are you worrying about this fall and how you're going to pay for college? A few years ago, a young man named Matthew was having those same worries. Then he went to work to find as many grants and scholarships as he could find, and he got a $70,000 top-rate education for free. Now he's showing you how to do it too. FreeEducationUniversity.com can help you find ways to get your schooling paid for, and right now you can get this information for less than half the regular price. Use promo code Radio1000 to save $1,000 at FreeEducationUniversity.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
This is amazing. It costs about $170 a year to power your flat screen TV, but only $3 a year to power your radio. Radio wins again, everybody. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The average person reads about 25 minutes a day. So if you read more than that, you're above average. If you read less than that, well, you're me.
I see.
The Waddell... Oh, I'm sorry. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Waddell seal can travel underwater for about 7 miles without surfacing for air.
Oh,
That's pretty cool.
cool.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Tommy Lee Jones, actor, was Vice President Al Gore's roommate when they were freshmen at Harvard.
I did know that.
I know you knew that. We've talked about that. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Albert Einstein was offered the presidency of Israel in 1952.
Oh.
And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
It says here, approximately 3 jars of peanut butter are sold every single second. So there you go. People like their peanut butter. Couple fun facts brought to you by pinkdrinkfree.com. Not just another diet, it's a way of life. That's pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
I'm John Small. Ever since I was a little fat kid, my nickname has been Big John Small. Well, I decided it was time to do something about that. When I first stepped on the scale, a little over a month ago, it said overload. That was kind of scary. After about a week, it said 336. Then a week later, 326. Now, less than 316. I've lost over 20 pounds in about a month, and I did it with a delicious pink drink. It's been super easy, and if you'd like to try it for free, go to the website pinkdrinkfree.com. They'll mail you some free samples and the details on how to get more if you like it. That's pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. There's some kids out there that are, graduated just recently and are join the real world. I have some clothes washing tips for them and for everybody else too. Do you need some clothes washing tips, Heidi?
Always.
All right. This is says, let's face it, with a household full of dirty laundry, it's not a simple task, but here are some tips to make it a little bit easier for you. Plan your laundry schedule. They say it's easy to throw a load in the washing machine, but it's much more time consuming to fold and hang up and blah, 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 blah. So they're saying plan the schedule when you can do it. Next, battle greasy stains. Look for a fast remedy for treating greasy stains. Well, there's one mother of three that came up with a quick tip. Dishwashing detergent. She said she uses that for spot treating, and it works well. That's a cool idea. Get organized is number 3. Best way to organize laundry? They say get your family involved in the sorting. Buy laundry baskets with sections for white clothing and color clothing and have them do their part in their own room.
Yeah. I can't even get them to make it into the hamper.
Yeah, pretty much. Next, separate smaller items. It says they may be small, but baby socks can be can complicate laundry since it's so easy to lose these tiny little socks. ID your kids' clothing. This would be a good idea if you've got kids that are close to the same age. Put something in there where you know that this one belongs to this kid and this one. You were putting my socks and Troy's socks all, like I'd get his socks.
You guys both insisted on getting the same kind of socks. I used to buy them so that your socks had a red line on them and Troy's had a green line on them, and then you both wanted this other kind of socks that were exactly the same, and they're hard to tell apart.
I was thinking that we could mix and match, but my feet are bigger than his feet. They're wide. So I put his socks on and they're like skin tight. He put mine on and they're like all flippity floppity. Reunite lost socks. It says they're notorious for disappearing, but when you find them, put them all back together. And then the last thing it says, pack it up. It's about multitasking. Jennifer Bright Reich, a mom of 2 boys under the age of 6, recommends prepping your kids' outfits as you do laundry. She says, when I do my son's laundry, I fold them into clothes packs. So she'll put together a whole outfit and put that whole outfit away. She says that makes it a whole lot easier. That's a cool idea. I never really thought of that before, but that is a neat idea. Coming up later in the program, we have some more laundry tips. We're going to talk about laundry blunders. That's on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
It's 2017. Are you still getting your movies and TV the way we did last century? Quit overpaying for old technology. For just $20 per month, you get live news, live sports, live channels filled with movies and more, all for just $20 per month. You can also stream movies and TV shows, so you can binge watch every episode of your favorite TV show. Learn more now at channelsurfertv.com. Get movies and TV for a low monthly fee at channelsurfertv.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. More laundry stuff here, Heidi.
Okay. Why are we on a laundry kick
Well,
today?
it was too much to fit into one. So the first thing we had earlier in the program, we had the top 10, I don't know if it was, 7 laundry tips. So now I have 10 laundry blunders.
So are you trying to teach me? You're not happy with my laundry style of shoving everything in one load? Cramming it in with a broomstick?
Laundry blunders. Shrinkage. If you're cooking things too hot, or not cooking, but washing things too hot, you might shrink things. Forgetting clothes in a dryer is another laundry blunder. That's one of my least favorite. Then you pull it out and it's all wrinkly, so you got to dry it. How many times did I dry that one load? It was like 8 times. I did it and then I'd forget. I'd be gone when the buzzer comes off. Then I go in and I'm like, the laundry. I forgot about the laundry.
Our dryer even sings you a little song.
It does.
Say, hey.
Not reading directions is another blunder that people make. Always read and follow label directions. Losing socks. They always get lost. I don't know how to fix that. They say pin them together. I don't know if that's a good idea. Using too much detergent. Most Americans pour in way more than they need. Sorting errors. Putting the whites in with the darks and the this into that. Forgetting to empty the pockets. That's probably a big one because I've had that happen. Then you lose stuff. Overstuffing the machine. My wife can do all of the laundry in one load. She's like, I did the bedding too, and all the towels. I mean, even ones we haven't used. Just crammed them in there. Forgetting stain remover is another blunder, and the last one is mildew smells. Because if you don't clean your cleaner, if you don't wash the washer, every once in a while it's going to start to get funky. So you're going to want to clean that up. A couple of laundry tips for you. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Heidi, I have for you the 10 biggest mistakes made by travelers. We got a lot of lists today. Holy cow. Traveling is meant to be a great pleasure, but there's a lot of things that we do that we make mistakes and then we don't have the best time. So overpacking. They're saying don't bring everything with you. Just bring what you need. Do not anticipating passport expiration. Make sure if you're going to go somewhere, especially if you're leaving the country, that your passport will be good the whole time you're gone.
Yeah.
That could be a bad thing.
That could be very bad.
Leaving too little time between flight connections. Here's the thing. I'm not the one that schedules that. Doesn't the airline do that? But I've had them before where you get off the plane here and you got to run.
But if you see, when you're booking, you can see what the flight schedule is and you can change it.
Another big blunder is forgetting the time differences. Some countries go from 12-hour clocks. Some use 24-hour clocks. Not renewing prescriptions, medications. So if you're going to be on a trip, make sure you have enough meds to get you through. Neglecting to confirm hotel reservations. Make sure you reserve it and double check it and triple check it. Make sure you have a place. Not bringing an adapter. If you're going to a different country, they have different power, so make sure that you have the right adapter. Not checking to see if your ATM actually works in other countries. We went on vacation one time and we used our card, but we hadn't said anything that we were going to be gone, and it got shut down. So
yeah, that was a mess.
And then you have to call and say, no, it's really us, and it was over the weekend, so it was not a good deal.
Yeah.
Leaving valuables in a hotel safe, and then you come back to the hotel to make sure that you leave the stuff in there. But if you do use the safe, make sure you clean it out when you leave. That's what people do. They forget them. And then lastly, not learning how to say help in the language in the country you're going to be in. So if you're going somewhere in a foreign language, make sure you know how to speak at least the important things in those foreign languages, like how to get help and how to order a beer.
That's right.
And how to find the bathroom.
bar?
Okay. I thought you'd laugh at that. She said, yeah, that's exactly right.
Should be the first thing in every travel book.
All right. Coming up, we're going to talk camping. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
I know it's hot out now. It's the middle of summer.
But imagine how cold it will be in November.
That's when we are going to go to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic.
We'd love it if you'd join us.
There's a week-long event called 80s in the Sand with a bunch of great music from bands like Loverboy, Starship, Night Ranger, and more.
Plus, you get to meet 80s icons like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and so many more.
If you'd like to join us for this great time, go to 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to save $200 per person.
That's 80sinthesand.com. Smokers will soon have a new weapon in their battle to quit. Doctors are testing a so-called vaccine against nicotine that causes the addiction to cigarettes. So they're saying by taking this vaccine, you can no longer be addicted to nicotine.
Oh, that's cool.
The drug keeps nicotine from reaching the brain, making smoking less pleasurable and easier to give up. Pfizer's Chantix is already on the market, but another thing called Acompla recently won approval in Europe as a weight loss drug. If U.S. regulators follow suit, some doctors say they'll also use it to help smokers quit, especially those concerned about gaining weight. There are still other uses for the drug that are on the way that will work in the same... let me try that again. There are still other drugs on the way that will work in the same fashion, and the FDA has given them the fast-track status, meaning they'll get a prompt review. Of the more than 48 million smokers in the United States, 40% each year make a serious attempt to quit, but fewer than 5% succeed long-term. So about half say, I want to quit, and it just doesn't work. So there you go. This could be a good thing. My mother used to smoke. She gave it up for Lent and quit.
And has never smoked again?
Yeah,
That's
my
awesome.
dad used to smoke, and he gave it up as well the day he died. So I encourage people to, if you want to quit smoking, find the help. A lot of people out there that will help you do it. Coming up, we're going to talk about some more fun stuff that's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I have got some good news for you here, Heidi. This is a really neat story, actually. A single mother shares her professor's response when she missed a class, and the professor's response is winning over the hearts of the internet. There's a young lady that is a single mother. She's 21, and she's studying at school right now. Here's a photo of her, Heidi. You can see this on our Facebook page. There's the mama. Look at her cute little baby. Oh, she's so adorable. Well, she missed a class, and she sent the message and said, told my professor I missed a class yesterday because I couldn't find childcare, and this was her response. I'm literally crying. So blessed/thankful. So she sent the message, and the teacher replied back and said, we wondered where you were this morning, with a little sad face. I'm sorry to hear that childcare issues are what caused you to miss class today. You're welcome to still submit the video. So she kind of talks about what you can still do the homework. And then this is the part that is really the best. So I kind of skimmed through the homework stuff. In the future, if you are having trouble finding someone to watch Corbin, please feel free to just bring her with you to class. I would be absolutely delighted to hold her while I teach so that you can still pay attention to the class and take notes. I work for the Department of Child and Family Studies, so how terrible would it be if I was unwilling to have a child visit our class? I'm very serious with this offer. Just bring Corbin with you. Regarding quiz number 5, and then she goes into that. But I thought, how cool is that? And then the very end says, let me know if there are other ways I could be supporting you. Dr. H.
That is awesome.
Sally Hunter, Ph.D., clinical assistant professor, University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Awesome.
That is very,
awesome,
very, very cool.
awesome.
Love
Yeah, that is so cool. So, and this single mother who was not able to make it to class because she had a kiddo to take care of, and the teacher said, hey, in the future, bring the baby here. I'll hold her. That sounds like fun. I think that's neat. If you want to read all about it, it's on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great Thursday.
Time now for the bonus break on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We appreciate you joining us. We are sneaking up on summer. I guess it's actually here. Officially, summer starts here, I think, maybe in a couple weeks, but it certainly feels like summer out there. And there's a lot of folks that are swimming. If you drive by any of the swimming pools, they are filled with people. And we've got a gentleman on the line here that's got a really cool thing. It's a new way to go swimming. It's a new kind of swimming trunks for guys. We've got one of the founders of Dryfins, Andy Safnauer, joining us. Andy, how are you, sir?
How's it going?
Fantastic. This is a cool thing. I got an email about these swimming trunks, Dryfins, and it's funny because swimming trunks have kind of been the same for a long time. And there are probably a lot of guys like me that have had swimming trunks that were not exactly what you'd call comfortable. But you guys came up with a new way for men to wear swimming trunks that are hopefully a little more comfy, and it looks like they certainly are. Tell me about Dryfins swim trunks and where this idea came from.
My partner Craig and I, business partner Craig and I, have known each other for a lot of years in other industries, and we'd always wanted to work together on some sort of project. And he went on his honeymoon when he got married several years ago, and had the problem of chafing when he was out in Hawaii. And that's that painful rash, that you get when you're wet. So he kind of figured out that he'd like to solve that somehow. So he came back, and we were chatting about it and kind of bouncing ideas back and forth. And we ended up kind of hatching an idea for a company just out of that, of casual conversation. And so we went through the process of figuring out what worked. And it's really just taking the netting out of a standard bathing suit and putting in a liner that prevents the chafe. And we kind of put it all together, and it worked, and people seem to dig them. So we've been it's really solved the problem that both Craig and I had, and there was just nothing else out there that solved the problem.
And this is something that I've had an issue with my entire life. I remember when I was a kid growing up, we would go swimming a lot, and I never liked that liner. And I remember there were times I'd even take the scissors and cut the stupid thing out of there because it was so uncomfortable. And I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one. For whatever reason, I guess I always thought, well, it must just be me because, they sell them this way, and I don't hear anybody else complaining. But there apparently were quite a few people complaining then, weren't there?
Yeah, well, when he came back and we started kind of talking about the idea, we did some internet research and looked at, there were moms talking about it for their sons and husbands, and guys don't talk about it too much. You really heard more women talking about it. Their sons were suffering from it from the pool or being on a beach vacation or, at the lake. or saying, oh, their husbands are just, they'll go to the beach for a week and deal with it, and it's awful, and they complain. But we saw more moms and wives talking about it. We thought, well, maybe there really isn't something out there. How can there be, this idea can't be that simple or that, out there? And as we did some research and found there just wasn't anything that solved the problem. So when we figured out a way to put this together to make it work, it was really, people just like you said, oh, finally something. I just was dealing with, people with Vaseline, or they were, carrying things out, and not wearing the netting, or they were wearing compression shorts with another pair of shorts or whatever. This was really the first solution that put them both together to really make it work.
Well, it's a neat idea. It's called Dryfins, and I've got a link to the info on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show, so you can see it online. And I see they come in red and blue and green. Where can a person buy these? Are these in stores, or do you buy them here on the website? Where do you find a pair of Dryfins these days?
So we're at dryfins.com, and then we're also on Amazon. So we feel like the model of selling directly that way, and it's an easy process. Just order online, get them. Any issues, we're still a startup, small company, so you're going to talk to one of the founders or one of our few people that work for us. So we're still involved heavily in the process, the day-to-day process of what's going on. We just want to make the product better. We've had a lot of input from people over the past couple of years as we've grown. We've got some great plans for next year with some other colors we're going to add in, but we've got great reviews so far. We're really happy about that. And dryfins.com and Amazon, you can find them there.
Very nice. And like I said, I've got a link to that on our social media. So if you're driving right now, or if you're busy doing something and maybe don't have a chance to do it, we'll make it really easy for you to come back to that. Now, the price point on these is pretty affordable. It's not ridiculously high. It's a decent price point. So for people who are maybe looking to buy swimming trunks, a lot of the time guys don't buy 4 or 5 pair. They buy usually 1 pair, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We found that people have bought one, and then the next year they bought another pair, not because they need one, but because if you're especially on vacation, you tend to rotate 2 suits. One day you wear one and let it dry, and wear the one next day. We've had people come back and order, for their sons after buying one for dad or whatever. So they're priced, pretty in the middle of where swimsuits are. You can spend $100 on a swimsuit. You can spend, $25 on a swimsuit. So at $47 for the men's, and under $40 for the boys. It's really right in the wheelhouse of people being able to buy something. But it's also a solution to a problem.
Absolutely.
You can buy an uncomfortable suit for $25 for your son, or you can buy one that solves a problem and keeps them out of pain for a few dollars more. And we found that moms really feel like that's worth that.
Well, and I can speak from experience, it's absolutely worth that, because the whole concept of wearing, especially if you're going to be going somewhere where you're going to be swimming every day for a week, and you're putting on this swimming trunks with this terrible liner in there. And I don't understand who came up with the idea to take this really coarse, rough net and put that on some of the most gentle skin that you happen to have on your body, and then have some agitating water rub back and forth like sandpaper. I'm like, who came up with that idea? But I'm really glad you guys came up with a better idea. Dryfins doesn't have that problem, and it's a cool idea. So thank you for thinking outside of the box and coming up with a better way. They've only had swim trunks for probably, I don't know, forever. So thank you guys for coming up with a better mousetrap, if you will, and what a cool concept.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. I hope people check them out, and I think they'll like the product once they see them.
And I see you've got them in men's sizes and boys' sizes. So, folks, if you've got a man or a boy in your life, I know we just missed Father's Day. That was a little while ago, but you know what? If you're going to be out this summer doing stuff, anybody that's got big summer plans to go to the beach, to be heading to the lake, to wherever you're going, if you're going to be swimming a lot, this would be a good idea. You don't have to wait till next Father's Day. Just jump on the website and check it out now. I'll tell you again, it's dryfins.com, but I've got a link on our social media to make it really easy so you can find it there. Thank you again for taking the time to chat with us, sir. Andy is one of the founders. Andy, tell Craig thank you as well for all his time that he put into this as well.
Well, thanks, John. I appreciate it. And if people want to save a little bit of money, if they use the code CRUISE17, they can save 20% off when they do go to dryfins.com to buy the stuff. So Cruise 17 will save them a little bit of money, too.
All right, Cruise 17. And we'll throw that info in our social media as well. So check it out. And that's all at dryfins.com. And we've got a link at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.